This is NLPS ED Talks, a podcast brought to you by Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools. I'm Dale Burgos, the Executive Director of Communications, and I'll be sharing conversations with students, staff, and friends of the district. We'll learn, we'll laugh, we may cry, but most importantly, we'll share the unique stories of individuals that work and play in our school system. Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools is one of many school districts in British Columbia, Canada, and is centrally located in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Vancouver Island. Thanks for joining us. I'm very excited today. I've got our first student on NLPS ED Talks. Her name is Sarah Dmytruk, and she is going to tell us all about what she does and what makes her special and all those great things about being a student here in Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. I have to say that a teacher of yours, Miss Roxanne Boyko, had mentioned that she's got a fantastic student that I think I should talk to you on one of our podcasts. And I thought, okay, well, let me hear about her. But I didn't have to because I already knew of you. I've heard of stories. I've heard of all these heroic things that you're doing. So we're going to get into all of that right now. Okay, Sarah? But for now, let's start from the very beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Nanaimo, so at the NRGH hospital. So
very good, excellent.
Yeah.
Like many people born in Nanaimo are. May I ask how old you are?
I just turned 18.
Hey, congratulations!
Thank you.
18 years old, so you're ready to vote in the next election. Is pretty
Yeah.
much you're ready to go anytime. Okay, and growing up, where did you go to school?
I started in elementary school at Pleasant Valley,
Okay.
and I went K to 7 there, and grade 8 to 12 was Dover Bay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell me a little bit about your K to 7 years. Right? What do you have some fond memories that you'd like to share with us briefly?
I really enjoyed my teachers. I had a good connection with most of them, and I did a lot of helping out with the younger grades with like buddy classes and stuff, and I got a bit of a head start on working with the younger kids, and it's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, Dover Bay, 8 to 12, or are you in grade 12 right now?
I am in grade 12 right now, but I'm not actually at Dover Bay. I've finished all my classes there.
You're also taking some other courses, correct?
Yeah, I'm taking
Okay.
some learn at home classes.
Okay, excellent. So tell me a little bit about that. So you've done the in-school Dover Bay piece.
Yep.
Let's learn at home. What are you taking at the Island Connect at, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm currently taking a Physics 11 course
Excellent.
to get my science class before I graduate.
Very good.
And I am also taking a social studies course through the School District 69. So I know one of the teachers there. We ref lacrosse together, so he got me into the course there.
Great. Okay, we'll get into lacrosse a little bit later. That
Okay.
sounds interesting. I'd like to talk more about that. Now, you also are taking some other courses, or what led you to, and this is the reason why I have you on the show, because you are in the trades right now. You're working, and you're doing it already, and you're only 18 years old, and you're getting paid, and that's fantastic. So tell me how you got into that. Well, first off, what are you working in right now?
I'm a welder. I took my C-level certification at VIU last year, and I'm going back in August to get my B-ticket certification.
Maybe you'll have to explain that a little bit, just for the people that don't really know what that means.
Okay.
So as a welder, what are the tickets that you have to I guess, be a welder?
So it starts off at your C ticket. It's a
Okay.
little bit backwards that way.
Okay.
And it certifies you for structural welding, so like pretty much anything but pipe, I guess. And then you go back for your B ticket, which is pressure, so just pipe is the main focus. And then you can go for your A ticket, which is only another like 4 or 5 weeks or something.
Okay.
And with that, you can focus on a certain process, so like you can focus on just aluminum welding or just stainless steel welding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think you'd like to do in the near future? What is your plan? Do you want to get right to that A ticket and start working with different pieces of metal? What's your thoughts?
My goal is to get my Red Seal certification before my 21st birthday.
Wow. Goals.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is a Red Seal? for those that don't know?
So Red Seal certification is a thing that all the trades have, but with welding in particular, I'm pretty sure it's the same for all of them, but you can go anywhere in the world and get a higher pay just because you have that certification.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So these jobs, so for example, I'm going to throw some examples out there that I know of. And I know of some people that went out and worked at, for example, Fort McMurray, or they go work in the ocean underwater, that sort of thing, and they do the welding underwater. They make great money. And is this something that they would have done then? They would have gone through, typically, is that what they would get, sort of like a Red Seal, so they can go all over the world and just do that?
Yeah, they would most likely have their Red Seal certification or another very high certification.
Right. Okay. And is that all schooling, or to get the certification, do you actually have to be working in a company or a business of some sort that focuses on welding?
You have to have a certain number of work experience hours, so you do have to be working somewhere, but it is also, with just your C ticket, you can't go for your Red Seal.
Right.
You have to have your B ticket and a certain number of hours to go with it.
Now, what led you to this? I mean, this seems so, I'm going to say it's out of the ordinary, and it's not a story that I hear very often in the district, and I applaud you for that, and congratulations, you're doing fantastic from what I'm hearing. So what led you to this today?
In grade 8, we have the Skills and Trades rotation at Dover Bay, so we have to go through all the basic trades like cooking, sewing, metalwork, woodwork, stuff like that.
Right.
And it was in the metalwork class that I kind of clicked with it. It was really fun, but we weren't allowed to play with the welders because we were only in grade 8, so like safety reasons.
Right.
And my teacher told me to come back in grade 10, so I did, and we did some welding together, and I wanted to practice a little bit more, so I went to my grandpa's house. He has a welder at his home shop, and we played around with that a little bit and got some hands-on experience, and I just loved it. So I talked to Roxanne, and she introduced me to the CTC program, and I was working really hard over the summer getting my Learn at Home classes finished and trying to get myself as acceptable as possible. And I did a lot of work experience training as well. Over the summer, I did like my first aid training and WMIS and fall arrest.
You touched a little bit about your grandfather having a welding machine, and you got an audience here. Your mom's sitting here,
I do.
and also Ms. Boyko is sitting here in this room. So I was going to ask if it's in the family, and was this something that you were introduced to at a young age?
Yeah, I have my grandparents and my uncle. They were both mechanics. My uncle is working in a shop in Nanaimo, just a little local shop, as a automotive electrician. So I did some work experience over the summer with him. I followed him around his shop and got a feel for what it's like in the shop, because I've only ever been at the shop at school.
Right.
So I wanted to know what it was like to have a job and stuff.
Well, you have a job for sure now.
Yeah, I do.
Let's talk about the job a little bit. Can I ask where you work?
I work at B&F Manufacturing.
Okay.
It's a local shop.
And what do they do? What do they build? What sort of things do they work on?
We build parts washers. So
Okay.
they're basically like giant dishwashers.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so those are the machines that you're working on to fix, or is it the parts for the washers, or how does that all
We
fit in?
make them from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were talking like these big, like it's for big parts, I'm assuming, or little parts, big parts, that sort of thing?
Our biggest machine that we get as a usual order is about, like the base of it is like 6 feet by 6 feet ish.
Nice. Okay.
It's pretty big.
Okay. Let's talk about just a little bit of what you do on a daily basis. You walk in, you clock in, and here you are. So what are some of the things that you'd be working on during a typical workday?
Typical workday is I'm usually just working on the smaller parts that go toward the parts washers. Like we have baskets for them and filters and things. So I work on those parts of it. And there's another Red Seal worker there. He went through the CTC program as well.
Oh, wow.
So we work together quite a bit because he's the newest employee before me.
Right.
So he's kind of like my supervisor, if you will.
What about your future? I mean, you're in it right now. You're not even graduated yet,
No.
Technically, but you are working in a field and in a trade. And what do you think you're going to do in the future?
My future goals, like I said earlier, is to get my Red Seal certification.
Yes.
And I want to go for my A ticket as well. So
Okay.
that's something exciting because nobody else at my work has their A ticket certification.
Okay.
So
Right.
I kind of want to get that to like prove that I'm capable of doing it.
So, Sarah, tell me a little bit more about CTC, the program itself. What did you accomplish in that program?
So I got all my certification training. It was a lot of fun, like different work experience training as well. And in my grade 11 year, I was accepted into the welding program at VIU. So
Nice.
it was a little, it was a shock to me. I was not expecting to be able to do it until my grade 12 year because that's what they typically do is your grade 12 year. But I prepared myself over the summer and got all the training that I thought was necessary, and I made it so that it would be hard to turn me down.
Very good. Yes, you can't say no, especially when you're a self-starter like yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew exactly what you wanted, and is that through because of the support that you had through the program, and they told you what you'd need, or is this something that you knew already?
Yeah, we worked together a lot. I worked a lot with Roxanne, and she told me this is what you got to do to make sure that your name is in their face, so that they don't just skim over your application.
Right.
And we worked together. She got me signed up for all the certification training, like I said earlier.
So let's talk a little bit about you, okay? We got a little bit about you growing up here in Nanaimo. You mentioned lacrosse, so you are a referee, you mentioned?
Yeah, I've been reffing. This will be my 6th year, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? That seems, again, I mean, well, of course, lacrosse is the Canadian, national Canadian sport, right? But how did you get into that? Did you play?
I played for a few years before I started reffing, just because I wanted to start reffing right away. But with the age that I started playing, you have to be a certain age before you're allowed to ref. So I had to hold out on that for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. But again, you hit your goal, and now you're refereeing, right?
Yep.
So there you go. Between school, between work, and you said you work Monday to Friday, right? Or pretty much just during the week and then weekends off.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you referee.
Yes.
What else do you do? I mean, can you fit anything else in there?
I also do a lot of volunteering. With the Nanaimo Clippers, I work at their home games in the souvenir booth, selling
Wow.
selling merchandise for everybody.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you have a favorite player on the Clippers right now? Do you get to watch the games, though, from the booth, from where you're working?
From my booth, I can only see the score clock, unfortunately.
Okay, so you know the score at least.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go, and you can hear the cheers and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, all of these stories, I'm leading up to something here because we're also profiling you in our next Connect Ed newsletter online, and my staff. This is the first time I've met you, but I've heard of you many times, and my staff got the chance to meet you beforehand. And of course, you told them a little bit about what you're doing, CTC, and your plans for the future. But you're also I'll say a hero out there, and you've been nicknamed again by the crew here as Supergirl, and you'll see the article. And after reading, I thought that was a proper name for you. Now, tell me a little bit about what happened.
So I was reffing the cross, and I was doing the shot clock, so I was in the penalty box, and one of the volunteers running the score clock, he started to choke on what he was eating, and that was the summer that I got my safety training through the school district, and so it was all fresh in my mind, and I jumped into action, and I helped clear the man's airways, and it was exciting.
Maybe not for him, but for you?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, completely. I mean, congratulations again. I mean, you saved somebody's life. I heard last week you took part in Skills Canada. Tell me all about that.
Yeah, so it was held up at VIU. There was, I think, 18 of us, all high school age students, and it was a lot of fun to see. There was actually 3 girls that were competing this year, so that was pretty cool. And one of them ended up, I unfortunately didn't get one of the top 3 places, but one of the other girls got 3rd place, so that was pretty cool to see.
Okay. What sort of, what is the competition, or what is the skill that you have to do? It's like they unveil something and you say you got to build this in half an hour, or what's the program look like?
So we get a blueprint at the beginning, and we have different welds that we have to do to it, and it's just like a couple pieces of structural steel, so nothing too fancy, but it is a lot of pressure. We had 4 hours to complete it, I believe, so that was a little stressful. It sounds like a long time, but when you're in the moment and
Right.
you're having to remember to do everything, it's stressful.
No kidding. And you're left, I mean, teachers are not around, or teachers are there, but you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah, you have to do everything by yourself.
Wow.
You can bring a teacher with you to the competition. Like if you're going with your high school teacher, then you can bring them. But once the blueprint is handed out, you can't talk to them anymore.
Wow. Okay, this gets you really prepared for the future to be on your own and working in the field. Was this your first time taking part in Skills Canada?
I actually did it last year as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a little more stressful last year because I didn't really know what to expect, but
Right.
this year it was a little bit easier because I knew like what to expect from it and how everything was going to work.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I touched a little bit about how it's not common that females work in welding, right? More and more, though, right? Over the last number of years, there's more and more. But really, I mean, are you the only one in your class, only female in your class, and where you work? Is that something that stands out to you?
I am the only female at my work. They've only ever had one other girl there,
Yep.
so that was a bit of an experience for them.
Okay.
And in my class at VIU, there was a total of 5 girls.
Great.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Good. Out of how many people in one class, typically?
I think there was 18 of us.
That's a great number.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, you talked a little bit about what you plan for the future. Do you have just one end goal for now? It may change, of course, but is there something that you just want to focus on right now?
I really want my own shop at home.
Nice.
I want to be doing some artsy stuff. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm so happy to have you on the show. You are a great person to talk to. You are truly a hero, a Supergirl, right? Let's go back to that nickname there as well. You've saved lives, but you're doing things, and you're only 18 years old. So I wish you all the best in your future years.
Thank you.
I don't anticipate seeing you slowing down anytime soon. So take care. Thank you for coming on NLPS ED Talks. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you. You too.